Hi and welcome to Budget Model Railways, and as promised this is a bit of an update on my Japanese exhibition layout, and as you can see there's an awful lot being done since the last video. In fact, it's looking substantially advanced now. I'll talk through some of the things I've done. The really important thing is this is being done for the Something show on May the 10th, which at the moment it'll be the only opportunity to see Budget Model Railways this year, unless we get invites to any other exhibitions. I've had loose invites, but nothing firmed up. But this has been made especially for Something. Those of you that have been following it, and I know it's not many of you because it's not British and all that, the idea is this is a layout that I can shunt on. It's actually a very large inglenook, believe it or not. It's 1.6 metres by, I can't remember the depth, it's about 30. So it's quite big for an N-gauge layout. Certainly much bigger than anything I've built as shunting layouts. So some of the progress we've done. So I acquired somewhere these little bushes, and they've worked really well. So they've enabled me to do this kind of rough ground. And see if I can zoom in a bit. There we go. And what I've done is I did a lot of research on YouTube looking at Japanese railways, strangely enough, and I'll come to that particularly at the other end in a minute. But there's a lot of shrub around, a lot of trees, surprisingly. So all I've done here is it's painted underneath and then stuck this down. And actually what I then did was used a diluted water and PVA mix to make sure it was really fixed in. I've put loose ballast between the shunting tracks, and then I've again used some scatter and the bushes to infill. Now, what I would say is even this month in Continental Model, there's somebody saying, oh, you can't use Kato and Tomic's track, it looks too unrealistic. I really don't think it does once you've built some scenery up to the ballast. And given how reliable Kato track is, I think this is a really good compromise, especially having recently done ballasting with all that entails. This is just painted cardboard and then black washed. I've got a Green Max building there that I weathered. This up to there is a Kato goods yard kit. It's the only thing I bought new for the layout rather than the back scene. All the other buildings I've managed to buy second hand. That's a little Green Max toilet block in there. Then working this way, we've got another, and these I should say, this has been repainted. I'm going to just, I use the tripod because people complain there's camera shake otherwise, but I just can't get close enough. So I've taken it off the tripod, so I'm afraid if the camera shake bothers you, sorry. So there we go. So they've been repainted. Now that's actually a Polar, I guess it's probably German goods shed, but painted up in these sort of Japanese colours, which looks quite good. And then we've got another Green Max signal box that's been painted. We then come into the town area, which is what I've done this morning. Now, all these buildings were bought second hand. Now, they're not as cheap as doing some of the UK, but actually they're not much more expensive than buying a Metcalf kit. You do need to shop around. That cost me £17. They're £40 odd new, and they usually go for £30 second hand. So I'm quite pleased with that one. Now, I'm not going to leave the road like that. That's Metcalf tarmac paper with the buildings on. I'm obviously going to do a lot more footpaths and blending to make that work. The Tomic's buildings, by the way, are really interesting. They come as clipped together, pre-painted kits, like the bus station there, and they're really nice. I did repaint the Tomic's station. That was a very garish colours. So I've picked all the stone out. Now, obviously, there's a lot of detailing work to do still. This is not as advanced as it looks, in fact. There's buildings to be painted and stickers to be put on and lots of work. But you get the idea now. We've got the goods yard. We've got the town scene, which needs to be quite crowded. It is Japan. And then we come to the rural bit that I'm quite pleased with. So I did get the paddy fields done the way I said, and that's great because you can see the water there glistening. So that's brown paint, brown yucky polyurethane old-fashioned varnish, timber varnish, and static grass. I managed to salvage all the big hedges for the ditches off my 00 layout. There is a lot of trees to be added. An excellent Tomix farm there, which kind of fills that area. And I didn't want to just do paddy fields, and there was lots of photos of crops growing near the line in Japan. And that actually is just a piece of grass mat that I acquired somewhere cheap, which just looks the business. And obviously took no time at all to do. The interesting thing is that this has been a relatively easy layout. Paddy fields took a bit of doing, but there's a lot of stick it down going on here. The road is just Javis ballast mat, and again that's come up quite well. I'm really pleased with the look of it. Looking at layouts I've seen online and Continental Modeler and images of Japan, this is definitely Japan. I know a few people have pointed out the background's probably more likely to be China, but it does look like a Japanese city, and it's certainly different to having a normal back scene that we see everywhere, especially the countryside photo ones that seem to take over. So there we go, an awful lot of work being done. Although it looks, 90% complete, in fact, there's a lot of work. Doug did sort the wiring for the points for me over Christmas, so they're now wired in. I've got the controls to do and quite a lot of neating up. It is a nice, robust construction. You'll have seen that in the earlier videos. And that does enable me to move this around. It's having to live on its end in Doug's bedroom at the moment because everywhere else I would normally store it is cold or damp. And obviously I've got this bit of damage to repair, courtesy of the wood lice down Doug's cabin. I've got a few plans how to do that. But in general, I'm pleased with the look of it. I do need to run some trains at some point, make sure it's all going to run smoothly. But the last time I tested it, it was really nice. So there we go. Quite a lot done. I know there's probably going to be about 4 of you still watching this, which I think is a shame. We can't always be insular and just assume because it's not a UK railway, we're not interested. I think we should be able to appreciate layouts for layout's sake, and not say, well, it's not UK, I'm not interested in it. It's very interesting actually, where I'm beginning to get to more exhibitions to visit. There's an awful lot of N out there now, an awful lot of modern UK outline N, and increasingly continental N, if not Japanese. And I think the tide is moving away from exhibitions being largely 009 and 00 UK layouts. I think we'll see a much bigger mix as we move forward, which I think is really good for the hobby. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. I'll do some more updates, and obviously I'm still working on the harbour layout, which I know quite a lot of you enjoyed. So lots still happening. Hope you're enjoying your railways wherever you are, and thank you as always for your comments and your support.